back at it tonight. They are in Vancouver, take on Vancouver Canucks, a old Northwest Division collision, if you will. Way back in the day when the Canucks were the Minnesota Wild's biggest rival, biggest in air quotes, if you will. But for the Vancouver Canucks, they've kind of gotten off to a middling start this year. They're just 6-6 entering tonight's game. Really, certainly better than maybe what they've had the last couple of years, but certainly a lot of room for improvement. Minnesota Wild entering the game on a 5-game winning streak. Some very big wins over Colorado, Tampa Bay during that 5-game winning streak. So really coming into this game on a high. Devin Dubnyk is back in the net tonight for Minnesota. Stellar .945 save percentage for him on the season. His career against the Canucks, .920 save percentage. Opposite end for the Canucks, Jacob Markstrom is in goal. Just a pedestrian, .902 save percentage on the season, and then an .887 save percentage in his career against the Minnesota Wild. So the Canucks not doing overly well in the goaltender department. Anders Nilsson out hurt. So Jakob Markstrom will get the call in the goal tonight. Kind of some players to watch. Mikael Granlund comes into the game for Minnesota. 7-game point streak, 9 points during that stretch. He's led the Wild in the last 2 years against the Canucks with 3 goals. So he's kind of a player in Minnesota to highlight for this evening's tilt. On the other side, Bo Horvat. Try it again. Bo Horvat will have 9 points for the Canucks. He leads the team in scoring. Second on the team in scoring over the last 2 years against Minnesota with 4 points. Has 7 points in 11 games against the Wild in his career. So Bo Horvat always does decently well against the Wild. Wild lost 2 out of 3 against the Canucks last year, and they really not overly exciting hockey games the last few years, as you can tell by the pedestrian point totals from some of the higher scores in these games. So Minnesota hopefully looking to kind of buck that trend and get back on the winning way as they go to Rogers Arena. Whatever happened to GM Place? Like everything in Canada is Rogers or Scotiabank. Not even room for Molson up there. What's going on, you silly Canadians? Anyway, other things to highlight. Vancouver has a guy named Brock Besser. Not sure if you heard of him. Kid from Burnsville. A couple of goals, 4 assists on the season. A little bit of a slower start for him, but don't sleep on him. You may remember him as the guy the Minnesota Wild took Joel Eriksson Ek over in a draft. Another thing to watch here, Minnesota penalty kill, been very stellar, 94% since October 19th, third best in the National Hockey League. Very solid penalty kill, and they will need it against some of the Canucks' better scorers. And then a key for Minnesota tonight will be to put their foot on the gas in the third period. Vancouver's been throttled in the third all season. They've been outscored 20-10 in the third, outshot 126-92 in the third. Just not very good third period play from the Vancouver Canucks. So if the Wild have the game tied or in the lead in the third, key for them will just be to put their foot on the gas, because that has not been Vancouver's strong point this season. So those are just some players kind of watching for tonight. If you haven't yet, check out episode 166 of the Giles and the Goalie Podcast, just released this morning. Very good stuff, talking about Ryan Suter's 1,000th game and his place in Wild history. We hit on Nino Niederreiter and his slow start to the season. We talk about the Wild's stellar defense, among other things. So do give that a listen on iTunes, SoundCloud, Libsyn, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all that fun stuff. Since this is a late game, Lord knows if there will be a post-game recap. I will certainly try, but if it gets to be too late, it'll be a little bit of a sleepy one. So we will hopefully talk to you later.